Before we start the video, it is important to know what the definition of social change is. According to South New Hampshire University, it says, social change is the way human interactions and relationships transform cultural and social institutions over time, having a profound impact on society. With this in mind, let's start the video.
So to start, let's take a look at a prominent form of social change in society today. For starters, dictatorship is the form of a government with absolute power with the rule or help of the military. The prefix dict means to say or speak, showcasing to us the absolute power of this type of government. Some current dictatorships that are current in the world consist of China, Cuba, and North Korea. They all follow the same concept of absolute power, but they all exhibit different extremes. For example, China, Cuba, and North Korea all have internment camps. These camps exhibit the bare minimum to sustain human life. They all have uninsulated barracks, a coal-burning stove, and a communal bathroom. A well-known dictatorship was in Nazi Germany, led by Adolf Hitler. He was a dictator during World War II and committed genocide in the Holocaust. Let's learn more about Hitler and the Holocaust.
The army that Germany has built up in 4 years swings in honor past Hungary's strongman Admiral.
Why was Hitler so against the Jews? A big cause of that was the Aryan race theory. Firstly, the Aryan race is the name originally given to people who spoke the Indo-European language. Aryans were, and are now, considered predominantly white people. The theory itself was that Aryans were superior to all races, specifically black people. Nordic and Germanic peoples were regarded as the quote-unquote purest members of the Aryan race. While this theory was rejected back in the 30s and 40s, and is still rejected, Hitler latched onto this theory. It became a pillar of his policy as dictator. It was this belief system that became his reason for exterminating the Jews in what became known as the Holocaust.
The 4th Armored Division of General Patton's 3rd Army liberated this camp.
The Holocaust was a traumatic event that happened in the 1940s. During this event, many Jewish people were killed because of their religion. Jews were killed in the concentration camps and in gas rooms, which are not pleasant ways to die. The mass genocide of these people was unfair, and there was no reason they needed to die. These people needed justice because of the way they were very badly treated. It is one of the biggest examples of prejudice against a specific group of people known throughout history. It is also a huge example of misguided justice. Hitler took advantage of his source of power. The feelings that the Holocaust has provoked in people have led them to want more justice for all groups of people to have equal treatment. A good example of a person who advocated for social change and justice was Martin Luther King.
Social change like the Holocaust doesn't happen only in Europe. Across the Atlantic Ocean, a new social change arrives in the States. A young man who goes by the name Martin Luther King Jr. galvanizes his people of color and minorities alike to fight for civil rights. His way of persuasion in a peaceful way became revolutionary. Peaceful protests have proven to be just as effective, if not more effective, than violent protests. In the end, some could argue that things haven't changed much since then, but it can be agreed that MLK is a beacon of social change. The works of Martin Luther King have also inspired movements like the Black Lives Matter movement and the Stop Asian Hate movement. BLM fights against police brutality that was racially motivated against black people, whereas Stop Asian Hate originated because of hate crimes against Asians since the start of the pandemic.
Let's take a quick recap. We looked at dictatorship, the Aryan race, the Holocaust, police brutality, and MLK. We looked at how these forms of social change affected our world and our justice system today.
Some argue that our society doesn't need change, that it's fine the way it is. Some think society isn't ready for real change and we don't need it. However, without social change, many people wouldn't be able to have the rights that they have today. Social change helps move society along to make everyone have an equal say. Yes, it's not always easy to create social change. However, if we want a more fair and equal society, we as citizens and human beings need to make the effort to do better.
In our own experiences, learning about the Holocaust is a common thing for every child. It being such a big event in history means that we learn about it in school and from our parents. Everyone in our group learned about the Holocaust as elementary school kids. We also learned about MLK when we were younger. We remember when we learned about George Floyd on the news recently. These events have helped us see the importance of social change in our world and how advocating for change has helped people get the justice they deserve.